All right, folks, this time we're going to fly nice and low over the North Fork. Going to get a little closer, a little more up close and personal with our favorite river here. So here we are looking once again upstream and then down.
So here we are, Shenandoah River, the covered bridge.
Deep spot in the river there we call the
here
foul
you can
leg
see
of the stream. Flanked on
the
both
North
sides
Fork of the Shenandoah River,
and then further
and right below me you can
the
actually see
by,
the deepest part of the stream, what we call the foul leg. If you look in the middle there,
the direction the water's flowing.
So we are 269 feet above the river.
The bottom of the picture here, you're looking.
We're going to drop
downstream
down in altitude.
So you're looking at the left bank and the right bank.
Just a little bit. Actually, you know, we're gonna go forward a little bit.
We're going to adjust. Start flying over the covered bridge.
We're going to go up, and then we'll follow the river across the covered bridge.
We're still about 200 feet up above the river here. We're going to get a little lower here in a bit, but there again is the covered bridge.
And there's a riffle area right on the other side of the covered bridge. So we're taking this video in mid-August of 2020, same day we did the video series dealing with the water testing. So you can see the riffle area we were using for this just below the drone. So if we continue on forward,
if I had to guess. Emerald ash borer has really done a number on the ash.
See more of the river, some more riffle areas.
Ah, here we go. So we're heading to the south, upstream, along the river here, and you can see this really nice V-shaped riffle where rocks have piled up. We're going to go down and take a look at that up close and personal here in a moment.
Okay. So we just covered what we might call a reach of the river.
Flight maneuvering.
So I'm going to go find a place where I can safely
spinning around here,
drop altitude without hitting trees.
One thing I don't want to do is crash the drone.
And then we're going to take a closer look at the river from lower altitude.
Okay, so we're going to drop an altitude very carefully. As we get closer, notice the white caps you can see, where places where rocks are inhibiting the flow, water's having to go around it. You can see on the left-hand side, looks like an area of deposition full of pebbles and cobbles on the left bank there. Here I'm looking for a good safe place to drop down in altitude between the trees. So upstream is to the bottom of the image here. Downstream is towards the top of the image.
I'm going to go forward a little bit. And we're at 126 feet. Still just above the treetops. If we raise up our view right now, you get a sense of where we are.
There's that ash tree. Bridge looks like it could use a paint job. All the pictures you see is bright red. Barn red.
Okay.
Alright, we're going to swoop down here. As we do, you can kind of start to see more and more detail come into view here. See some larger rocks. And you'll start to see some bits. Some of these rocks are actually bedrock formations popping through. Little bits of bedrock poking through. bedrock
Again, here we have a nice shot of the foul leg of this reach of the river.
Angle. It's not flat. So as the river moves over it, it cuts across it. And there you can see a real nice.
You can see the limestone bedrock in the bottom.
You have some loose rock as well, of course.
And the riffle area where we did the testing.
In this neck of the woods is
right under the covered bridge.
No different here than it is anywhere else.
Which we're going to fly under here in a moment.
And here we're going to lower, going to drop in altitude a little bit. We're going to fly under the bridge, take a look at what we see in the river as we fly over it. You see over on the bank there where those two unassuming individuals are standing. One's me, one's Mrs. Cluse. That was all silted over last year when we got really bad rains. Actually, two years ago, you couldn't even walk. You couldn't even walk down there to see the pylon. It was so buried by silt. That's all been carried away now. All right, so now we're going under the bridge. You can see the nice rounded cobbles and boulders that are down there in the water. Rounded boulders and cobbles are certainly indicative of higher energy areas where these objects have been bouncing around and bopping off of things, and we call either saltation, where the grains are moving along the floor, bouncing around, or this is what we call the bed load of the stream. You notice that you can't see much small stuff. There is small stuff in there, but most of the small stuff gets carried along because the energy of the water is high enough to take it. So that's important. We have there's some kids fishing. Now he's standing on bedrock. That's all bedrock formation there.
Look at those bedrock formations.
And except for the gravel there. We're going to look over the deep part of the water here. And yeah, so this is an area where the water is
location from above.
Less energetic.
This is, again, the foul leg of this section of the river.
Cloudy more easily, and finer particles will settle.
This is where most of the water is flowing, the deepest part of the channel.
But it's pretty deep in there. Not unusual for the North Fork of the Shenandoah. All right, you can see some nice more bedrock over on the sides there, and the periphery to the right.
If we look back over here,
you don't as easily see the bedrock.
Let's see what we call a point bar,
as you do when you're flying over it in plan view like this. So here we're going to turn around and we're going to come in for a landing.
Where those folks are sitting, and that's an area of lower energy on one side of the river.
This year because we can't take it on the field trip, but
deposition occurs.
You can go here on your own.
All right.
Following whatever safety protocols your parents would put in place. But, yep, I hope you enjoyed your trip to the North Fork.